Imagine you are scrolling through your phone. Breaking news alerts are flooding in. Something is happening in a remote desert region, somewhere dry and sun-scorched, the kind of place the cameras don't usually go. But today, they are there. Drones are circling overhead. Satellite feeds are live. Journalists are broadcasting from a ridge 1,000 meters back because no one is willing to go closer. And the reason no one will go closer is him. The footage is shaky at first, buffering across every platform, but when it clears, when the image finally resolves into something your brain can process, you stop, you sit up, because standing in the open ground below, between two opposing forces, is a figure that doesn't seem possible. He is enormous, not tall the way a basketball player is tall, not large the way a heavyweight fighter is large. He is something else entirely. The kind of size that rewires your instincts before your logic can catch up. Fully armored, armed, and he is not attacking anyone. He is speaking. His voice carries across the valley, not through speakers, not through amplification, just his voice, carried by the air, landing like something physical. And what he is saying is simple. He is issuing a challenge. One warrior, one fight. Winner takes everything. The two armies on either side of the valley have gone completely still. And then, out of the silence, from the side of the smaller outnumbered force, a boy steps forward. No armor, no rifle, no radio, just a sling and a handful of stones. The world watching on live stream goes quiet. Why would anyone do that? Let's talk about what the world would see. The man standing in the valley floor, the one issuing the challenge, stands at roughly 9 feet tall. The ancient account recorded in the first book of Samuel gives his height as 6 cubits and a span. Historians and archaeologists have debated the exact equivalent for centuries, but even the most conservative estimates place him well above 7 feet. The most literal reading takes him closer to 9.5. He is wearing a bronze helmet, a coat of scale armor so heavy it weighs the equivalent of over 50 kilograms. He carries a spear whose iron tip alone weighs around 7 kilograms. There is a soldier beside him whose only job is to carry the shield in front of him. Modern analysts watching the footage would run their numbers fast. The biomechanics alone would be extraordinary. The bone density required to support that frame. The musculature needed to carry that armor and still move with threat. And across the valley from him, less than 100 meters, a teenager. No estimate of David's age is given precisely in the text, but the biblical account makes clear he is young enough that his own brothers dismiss him, young enough that the king doubts him on sight, young enough that he has not been included in the army at all. He arrived to bring food to his older brothers. No helmet, no body armor, sandals, a shepherd's bag across one shoulder, a sling, a strip of leather, ancient technology, something most people in the modern world could not even name if they saw one. The social media reaction would be immediate and overwhelming. Trending hashtags, competing clips, military analysts on news channels explaining, with genuine alarm, why this cannot end any other way. Former Special Forces officers staring into cameras, visibly uncomfortable, choosing their words carefully. The boy has no tactical advantage, no equipment, no backup, no plan that any trained professional would recognize as a plan. To understand what you are watching, you have to understand what brought these two armies to this valley, the land of ancient Canaan, roughly 3,000 years ago. The Philistines, a powerful, organized military force with iron weapons and established war culture, have moved into Israelite territory. They take up position in the Elah Valley, on one side of the ridge. The army of Israel assembles on the other. This is not a skirmish. This is an existential confrontation, the kind of moment where the future of a people is genuinely at stake. And from the Philistine camp, every morning and every evening for 40 days, a warrior walks out into the open ground between the two armies and delivers the same message. His name is Goliath. He is from the city of Gath. And his offer is this: send one man to fight me. If your man wins, we become your servants. If I win, you become ours. The account in 1 Samuel does not soften what happens on the Israelite side. The soldiers are terrified. The word used is precise. They are dismayed. They are deeply afraid. This is not a momentary hesitation. This goes on for 40 days. Every morning, every evening, the same challenge. The same silence from Israel's side in response. 40 days is a long time to watch your army be paralyzed. Then a young man named David, the youngest son of a man named Jesse from Bethlehem, arrives at the camp. He has been sent by his father to bring grain and bread and cheese to his older brothers serving in the army. He is not there to fight. He is there to run an errand. He hears Goliath's challenge, and his first question, recorded in the text almost exactly like this, is, "Who is this man that he is allowed to defy the armies of the living God?" His brothers are embarrassed. They tell him to go home. They accuse him of arrogance, of only being there to watch the drama unfold. But word travels the way word always travels in a camp full of men who have been afraid for 40 days. And soon, David is standing in front of King Saul. Consider the psychology of what is happening in that tent. Saul is the king of Israel. He is himself described in the biblical text as a man who stood head and shoulders above other men, physically imposing, a warrior king. He has an army. He has weapons. He has experienced commanders. And he has done nothing for 40 days except watch a giant humiliate his people twice a day. Now a teenager is standing in front of him volunteering. Any modern leader in that position would feel the absurdity immediately. The PR disaster. The moral weight of sending a boy to die. The embarrassment if this goes wrong, and it will go wrong. But David doesn't frame it as an act of suicide. He frames it as something he has already done before. He tells Saul directly, "I am a shepherd. When a lion has taken a lamb from my flock, I have gone after it. When a bear has come, I have killed it. I have done this not once, but repeatedly." He is not speaking in metaphor. He is describing his actual experience. Years of isolated work in open country, responsible for animals that could not protect themselves, facing predators with nothing but his own judgment and the tools he had learned to use since childhood. A sling is not a toy. In the hands of someone who has practiced daily for years, it is a precision weapon capable of speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. Ancient armies used slingers as a genuine military unit. The range, accuracy, and impact force of a trained slinger with the right stone is something that modern physics can quantify with respect. David is not untrained. He is differently trained. Saul finally agrees. He offers David his own armor, his royal armor, sized for a large adult man. David puts it on, tries to walk, and takes it off. It doesn't fit. It's not what he knows. He goes back to what he knows. 5 smooth stones from the stream bed, his sling, his shepherd's bag, his staff, and he walks toward the valley floor, 2 armies watching, 2 formations of men standing on opposite ridges, still as stone. In the modern version of this scene, every drone in the area would be circling, every camera would be locked, the feeds would be going out to every continent simultaneously. Commentators would have run out of words by now, and the anchors would be filling silence with silence, because there is nothing adequate to say. Goliath sees the boy walking toward him, and his first reaction, recorded in the biblical text, is contempt. He looks David up and down. He asks, in what reads as genuine offense, whether Israel thinks he is a dog, to be approached with sticks. He curses David. He tells him that he will give his flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field. This is not psychology. This is not strategy. This is a man who has spent his entire life being the largest, most dangerous person in any room he has ever entered, and he cannot process what he is seeing. His contempt is real. His certainty is real, but David is already answering him. And what David says in the text, in the actual recorded words, is not a threat. It is not bravado. It is a statement of what he believes is about to happen. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin. I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. He tells Goliath exactly what the outcome will be, not as a boast, as a belief so complete it has become fact in his mind before the stone has left his hand. The distance between them is closing. The valley floor is silent except for the sound of a young man's sandals on dry ground. And then David runs. He runs toward Goliath, not away, toward. His hand goes into the bag. 1 stone. His body knows this motion. Thousands of repetitions, in fields, in early mornings, In the boredom of long shepherding hours turned into mastery he didn't know he was building. He loads the sling. He begins to swing it. He is still running forward. The stone leaves the sling at full velocity. It strikes Goliath in the forehead, the one place the armor does not cover, the one gap in 60 kilograms of bronze protection, and Goliath falls. Not staggers, not stumbles, falls, face down on the ground, in front of both armies, in front of the cameras, in front of the world. The text records it without embellishment, the way eyewitness accounts often record the impossible, simply factually, because the person telling it was there and knows that nothing they add could make it more than what it was. One stone, one throw, the largest, most feared warrior of his generation, gone. In the biblical account, what follows is military and immediate. The Philistine army breaks. Israel pursues. A battle that could have consumed thousands is resolved by a single moment. But in the modern version, in the world where cameras captured everything, the silence would last several seconds. The kind of silence that comes before a crowd's brain catches up with its eyes. And then the footage would fragment across every platform simultaneously, slowed down frame by frame, analyzed from every angle. Was it real? Was it staged? Was there something we're missing? Experts would appear within hours. Skeptics would be in production by nightfall. Documentaries would be in development by the end of the week, because here is what the modern world finds almost impossible to accept. Not the death of a large man from a fast projectile, which physics can explain cleanly, but the confidence of the boy before it happened. He was not afraid. The army had been afraid for 40 days. The king had been afraid. The brothers had been afraid. And this young man, with less training, less armor, less size, less experience by any conventional military measure, walked into the valley floor without hesitation. That is not the part the analysts can explain. That is the part that has made this story impossible to forget for 3,000 years. There is a reason the phrase David and Goliath appears in courtrooms and boardrooms and political speeches and stadium locker rooms across every culture that has ever had access to this story. It is not because we love an upset. We do love an upset, but that is not why this story survives. It survives because it answers a question every human being eventually asks. What do you do when the thing in front of you is larger than what you were prepared for? The armies of Israel had a perfectly rational response to Goliath. They assessed the situation. They calculated the odds. They reached the correct conclusion based on visible evidence, and they were terrified. Their fear was not weakness. It was accuracy. David's response was not irrational either. He had done the math differently, not because he ignored the threat, but because he had a different variable in his equation. He believed he was not alone in the valley. That is the theological center of the story, and it is inseparable from the human drama. David does not underestimate Goliath. He describes him clearly. He has seen the man. He knows what he is facing. But his certainty is not rooted in his own capability. It is rooted in something he has tested in the fields, in the dark, against lions and bears, with no audience and no reward. He has already learned alone that he does not face these things alone. The courage in this story is not recklessness. It is not ignorance. It is a faith so practically tested that it has become indistinguishable from confidence. And that is why every generation finds a new Goliath in this story, and every generation finds a new David, because the human architecture of this moment is permanent. The powerful standing in the open, the small one watching from the edge, the question hanging in the air. Who is willing to walk down? If this happened today, the world would watch it. Every screen on the planet would carry the feed. Social media would fracture along every possible line. Believers and skeptics, the moved and the cynical, the ones who see a miracle, and the ones who demand a natural explanation, and the ones who quietly are just grateful to know the story is true. But here is what we sometimes forget. The world already watched it, not on live stream, not through drones, through the preserved memory of a people who kept this account alive through oral tradition and written text across 30 centuries, through empires rising and collapsing, through the destruction of the very land where the valley sat, through exile and diaspora in every force in history that should have erased it. The story survived because it is true in the way that the most important things are true, not just factually, but structurally. It maps onto something permanent in human experience. Every person alive today either has a Goliath in front of them, has recently survived one, or is watching someone else face one right now. And the question this ancient story still asks, quietly, without drama, with the calm of something that has waited 3,000 years for you to hear it, is the same question it asked a shepherd boy on the edge of the Elah Valley. What are you willing to walk toward?